You're listening to Kizuki, the podcast. I'm Mae Yoshikawa, and I define the Japanese concept of Kizuki as the following. Kizuki. 1. A moment of epiphany, an aha of realization or insight which opens the knower to a new dimension of truth that was formerly unknown. 2. Steps in an incremental growth of awareness, resulting in a movement from ignorance to greater awareness of the bigger picture. A kind of knowing that cannot be undone, that cannot be unrealized. As a longtime yoga and meditation practitioner, a world traveler, and curious self-explorer, I'm obsessed with Kizukis. Listen on each week for inspiring and enlightening stories that may just tip you over for your next aha. On this week's episode, self-responsibility without self-blame. Today, I want to explore a very surgical, fine line but critical difference. The difference between self-responsibility and self-blame. This distinction is especially important for those of us who have spent years practicing meditation, self-inquiry, or other spiritual paths, where we're trained to look inward first, before pointing fingers outward. And of course, that practice can be incredibly freeing. It moves us out of victim mentality. It gives us agency. But taken too far, self-responsibility can bleed into self-blame. And when those two get confused, dysfunction creeps in. Because self-responsibility and self-blame are not the same thing. They're qualitatively different inner experiences, and they create completely different futures. So I want to dive into that with a vivid example because I had this dream the other night, and in my dream, I suddenly realized, oh no, I forgot I have a 1 p.m. appointment. I look at the time, I'm already an hour late. And in the dream, I'm rushing. My heart is pounding. I'm scrambling to get there as fast as I can. And right there, in that moment, there's a fork in the road because two very different inner responses are possible. One path is self-responsibility. It sounds like this. Okay, I missed it. I'm calling them now. I'm letting them know that I'm getting there as fast as I reasonably can. And later, I'll figure out a way to set this up so I don't just rely on memory alone next time. Notice the tone. There's remorse. There's an oh no moment. But it doesn't linger or turn into self-attack. It's grounded, clear, and then it moves into forward motion, into repair. There's no melodrama, just clean responsibility. The other path is self-blame. It sounds like, how could I be so careless? I should know better by now. I can't afford mistakes at this level. Same situation, same mistake, but now there's an added layer of self-imposed emotional punishment. And here's the key Kizuki. Both paths acknowledge the mistake. Only one attacks the self before repair even begins. This is exactly why the distinction matters so much. Self-responsibility creates this forward movement. There is a place for remorse, of course, but it doesn't create the shame that self-blame brings, because responsibility ultimately says, I'll handle this. Blame says, I am the problem. Responsibility repairs. Blame must punish first. What makes this distinction so tricky is that self-blame often disguises itself as productivity. Underneath it is usually a very old strategy. If I'm hard enough on myself, I can prevent this from happening again. It's something in the nervous system that's trying to regain control, trying to feel safe again after you've messed it up. To be fair, this strategy probably worked at one point in your life. I know I've used it. It might have helped you to survive. It might have helped you to push through. But at this level of growth, let's face it, it becomes costly because self-blame doesn't actually create reliability. It creates fear-based performance. Okay, so here's the upgraded version of responsibility. Real responsibility is simple. Ownership, meaning there's some remorse in there, but then shift to forward-looking repair and learn, try again. That's it. So back to my dream for a second, because the ownership piece says, oh no, I forgot the appointment. Repair says, I'm going to contact them right now and get there as soon as I can. Learning says, I'm putting something in place so there's a system to remind me and I'll figure out a way to give myself buffer time. And here, there is no character judgment required. Whereas self-blame adds a fourth unnecessary step, which is punishment. And punishment just isn't growth. It's pain. As adults, we have to remember this. Mistakes don't have to be moral failures. So for me, this is the real key learning point. My future is not built by inner violence. There's just no place for self-punishment in building peace in your life, in your future. So this week, I'll leave you with one gentle noticing practice. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, is my inner voice trying to help me solve this? Is it forward-looking? Or is it trying to hurt me into improving? If it's hurting you into improving, that's self-blame. And you just don't need that anymore. Thank you for listening. If you missed the recent Kizuki Journaling online session, the on-demand replay is now available at maey.live under On Demand. And if you'd like to be the first to know when the next live session opens, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter at the bottom of maey.live or kizukijournaling.com.